Greetings, everyone. Welcome to the Quantum Community Meeting. It's great to have you with us tonight, and we're very grateful that you're taking the time to come on this journey with us. I am your moderator and the host. My name is Muriel-Mita-Biggs. I've been working with quantum grammar for about 9 years. My connection with the quantum grammar and with Russell-J. Gould began in 2011 as a member of the Red-Thumb Club in Edmonton, Alberta. I'm also the secretary on the Contract Canada Constitution Treaty. And if you're curious about that document, you can find it in the documents link on our website. The calls are always recorded, so tonight is no different. And those audios, and if there's video to it, then the video will be available as well. You just go to our website and down to the notification on when the next call is, and you'll see something about playlists. So just click there. If you're interested in connecting with fellow participants in the community in your local area, you are welcome to post where you're located and your contact information in the chat. That is one of the reasons that we like to have these meetings, is that so, people who want to make these connections can find people who are in their vicinity, in their county, in their state, in their country, and that way you can be witnesses on each other's claims and things like that when you move forward. Here's just a list of some of the places that you can find us. We have a few YouTube channels. Russell now has one, and it's at Russell-J. Gould. War Castles is going strong, and it's War-Castles. Make sure you subscribe on each of these channels so that you get notification right away when a new video is uploaded. It's a really good way to keep up with, things changed. With what videos are being launched by the chief. Our websites are lastflagstanding.com. A couple of the other websites are warcastles.com and fortheclaimofthelife.com. It's a command petition to let the media and the military and the postal system know that Russell's work is no longer a secret, and we know he has the solutions we're looking for, so we are commanding them to bring him forward. Over the last few weeks, since the launch of the documentary movie Last Flag Standing, we've been hearing a lot more from the chief, and I hope you're getting a lot from his videos and from that documentary movie. That is a whole lecture in itself, and there is so much there. He talks about so much of his journey and the things that he's done and his experiences, and just the power of the grammar and how it can be a life-changing thing. So when you send a message to our email address, it's me that's answering you. On occasion, I know that Joey will jump on board and answer some, but for the most part, it's me. And I do want to just speak on the value of the life claim at this point, just for a few minutes. The first and most critical benefit of the claim of the life is that you're moving your volition and your vessel out of the birth certificate system. And in that system, as you all know, your values are harvested. You have zero rights of self-determination. Your children are warned to the state. The ownership of your home and your properties are at the permission of the bank and the county and the state. And all of your money is owned by the bank, and they can tax it at every level of transaction between you and their corporations. Once you become a live life claimant, you're now in a position of making claims. And the first thing that we teach is that you claim usuries. The first usury you start with is your mailing location, and then you move on to your driver's license and maybe your passport. It does take some time. It is a step-by-step process. Basically, you're starting with the things that are closest to you, having to do with your personal space, and then gradually expanding outward. Now you need to master the skill of syntaxing the fiction adverb grammar. And it is quite easy to learn. It looks a little daunting at the beginning, but there's going to be a lot more need for it in the future. So now with this skill of being able to syntax, you can show that you have knowledge that the contracts and applications on your usuries are written in Babel fiction, and they say nothing. So that really just is the the live life claim kind of in an overview. So just thank you so much for being here. We appreciate your support. The comments under the videos are great. The comments that I get in the emails are awesome. I'm just one person, so I do have other work that I do, and sometimes I'm not available, but I will always get to you. And if I don't, send me another reminder message and just say, hey, I'm here and I'm waiting for an answer. So again, it's my privilege actually to work on these documents, and I feel it's a real honor to be a part of this work. So we do have Joey John Lester joining us today. I want to welcome him on the call. We met at the Reno seminar 2 years ago. He's passionate about quantum grammar, and I'm very grateful for his friendship. He's going to speak to us for a while. He's got a lesson he wants to teach, and then we also have another special guest who is going to be joining us after that, and I'll be asking some questions. So welcome, Joey.
Thank you, Muriel. Thank you so much, and thank you everyone for participating tonight, coming here and tuning in to what's going on out here. Like Muriel was saying, we do have a special guest tonight, and no, it's not me. It's none other than who's on the screen. He's going to be joining us later. First, we're going to go over some things that Chief's been sharing with us through his Instagram and his YouTube and his media press outlets. So that's what I want to cover before Chief comes on and joins us. And it's just an honor to be here with all of you. And it's just an amazing time. It really is. And what Chief has been covering in his media release and press and all that is basically he's been covering what our government is supposed to be using as far as styles manual. Okay, so we've touched base on this repeatedly, and I don't mean to beat you up with it, but it's true. I mean, you've got to go look this stuff up yourself. As I'm using here, this website called babel.hathietrust.org. But still, even if you go to the government website, you can still bring up the same 2016 or they won't let you bring up the 1984 styles manual anymore because, they've upgraded to the 2016. But for the most part, I think the 1984 one will show you that even if they were supposed to be following their fiction Babel grammar, this is the manual. This is the rules. United States Government Printing Office Style Manual. And that's according to them. As you can see, it was approved by Congress back in October 22nd, 1968 for the 1984 Styles Manual.
I just want to say that if you don't catch that link, I do have it. So if you can't capture it here tonight, just send me an email and I can send the link to you.
If you could possibly, can you share that in the chat so people can click it to go to the same place?
You bet.
Thank you. And so as we see here, under their authority, even though this is all written in fiction and actually has been vacated by Chief in his 1999 filing, which vacated all their rules. And basically, they have nothing to back up what they're doing because they're acting fraudulently. They're acting as a de facto. They're not following their own rules. And I wanted to show you this because this proves it, that they're not even following their own rules. Even if they were written in fact, this is where they're supposed to come. And Chief rewrote all of these in quantum. So they're supposed to be following them in quantum, but they, being bad guys, aren't doing the correct thing. They're not stopping and correcting. They're not Title 42, 1986ing it. So it's very important that we show you these things. And it goes through, all the board of directors and all that stuff. And in the search box up here that this hathitrust.org has, it has a great search function. It acts like Google, a Google search engine. So you can type in what you're looking for. And then I already typed in Chapter 8 because I wanted to show everybody Chapter 8, which is what Chief has been mentioning in his videos over and over. Chapter 8, if we read this 1984 Styles Manual, even though it's written in fiction, I think you guys can comprehend and translate, even in the Babel language, what this means. And it's very clear. Punctuation is a device used to clarify the meaning of the written or printed language. Well-planned word order requires a minimum punctuation. The trend toward less punctuation calls for skillful phrasing to avoid ambiguity and to ensure exact interpretation. The manual. And look, they're even using different size fonts, which vacates the continuance of the evidence, even in their own writing. I want to point that out. See that right there? Mm-hmm. This is all caps, and then there's a different size font here. So it vacates right there. You don't have to go any further because they just vacated themselves. Even though they vacated themselves from the very beginning in actually writing in the fiction and not in quantum. But as we read on, it basically says in here that punctuation is it's to clarify the author's thought. Author's thought is an opinion. Author's thought is not a fact. So anywhere you see punctuation, it's the author's thought. It's just, it just goes nuts with this thing. Once you get into it, it starts to unravel and show you what they are basically hiding. They're hiding a coded language. This coded language is used to trick us into wandering into a court back in the day when they were open and identifying ourselves as the dead nom de guerre that's on our IDs or our credentials, say it your driver's license or your passport. They want you to basically come in there and identify yourself as the dead nom de guerre, the all caps name, so that they can take advantage of us and play their game, their acting game in these phony baloney courts. They're used for harvesting. So, excuse me. So basically what you want to do is go in here, and Chapter 8 is the main chapter you want to look at and read. Please do your due diligence. Go in here and read Chapter 8. It will tell you everything you need to know what's going on out here as far as grammar goes. And we can syntax this and show you that it basically says nothing. It's basically this over here. It's show you this right here.
Well, and while you're going to somewhere else, I just wanted to mention that other things that you can study are the things that are the title sites, just like this Title 18, that Chief mentions in his videos. Those are good study places to start your studies as well, if you've watched all the videos and things that you can track down, because every video that he does is pretty much a lesson in quantum grammar.
Yes, it is. So what Chief was talking about is when he filed his paperwork against the United States government back in 1999, he was the only one to Title 42, 1986, to stop and correct of the fraudulent grammar, which it specifies even in their title. You can go and read it. It's right here. I brought it up for you. It's not the Title 18 DCCS. That is the quantum version of it. But in the box here is the fiction version down here. So I wanted to show you that so that you could read it and you could get an idea. Look, we're not making this up. This is their own rules they're supposed to be following. It says statements or entries generally, except or otherwise provided in this section, however, in any manner, the executive, legislation, or judicial branch of the government of the United States, united willfully, falsifies, conceals, or covers up by any trick, scheme, or device of a material fact, makes a material, false, fictitious, fraudulent statement or representation, makes or uses any false writing or document knowing the same contain any materially false, fictitious, fraudulent statement or entry shall be fined under this title. In prison, not more than 5 years, or if the offense involves internal or domestic terrorism, as defined in Section 2331, which actually we are during a time of martial law, and that prison sentence goes up to, I believe, 30 years. It's either 30 or 25 years if it's during the time of martial law, which we are in. So anybody violating Title 18, 1001 during martial law, it's a big deal. It's a huge deal. In a nutshell, what Title 18 is saying, it's basically, if you write fraudulent fiction grammar and someone says, hey, you're using fiction babble grammar, you can't use that. And you called them on it, you're doing a Title 42, 1986. You're asking them, hey, stop and correct. I'm showing you, you're not allowed to use fictitious grammar. And I proved to you it's fictitious grammar by syntaxing this. And we've showed you in the past, in our past videos, actually syntaxing the Title 18, 1001, 1002. Chief is actually showing that in his videos right now. You got to plug in, go over there, go to the website, Last Flag Standing, and sign up. You can sign up and you'll get all the media press being released in real time, folks. It's time. Chief has upped his game and he is putting it out there that the government, they need to stop and correct. That it's just plain as day, you know, what's going on here. They're using fraud and fictitious grammar and they're not stopping and correcting. It's real.
Yeah, you're watching it in action. Yeah.
Right now.
You're watching it play out the way he's been doing it for over 23 years.
So I wanted to show that because it's very important, folks, to know what language are we using and what are the people above us in the fiction world, what are they supposed to be using? What are they supposed to be following? What rules and regulations do they follow? Well, right now, you can't nail them down because they're actually closed right now, and they're not even supposed to be open because we're in martial law. Instead, they've got this pantomime of the fake COVID thing going on, trying to divert the attention away from what's really going on. There is no president. There is no vote. There is no presidential election supposed to happen. That was all vacated in 1999. Bill Clinton was actually the last president, and he even admitted that in his biography in his book.
I always tell you.
So hang on. I'm going to turn it over to you for a few seconds here.
Okay.
And we'll see how we can get Chief on. Muriel's going to ask him a few questions that a lot of people have been asking. So we're going to get that covered.
A lot of times the questions come up, what do I do next? I got my level of claim, I've done my usuries, what's next? And so, like I said before, just write down those title sites that he's mentioning in his videos and that we bring up here, although I don't do it as much as Joey does, but I do appreciate that he does. That's where the lesson is. That's where the learning is. We know that it's wrong. Now we have a way of showing it. So, I don't know, maybe I could just catch a question here.
I'm going to fill in. I'm going to do the share screen, and I'm going to try and match the topic of your questions in the background.
Okay. Yeah, because I sent them to you, kind of have an idea of what I was going at. Alrighty. Someone says, how can you get your, we have somebody here. How can you get your claim of the life if you became a U.S. citizen via naturalization? All you need is to show the paperwork of your naturalization along with birth certificate. And if you want to send another form of ID, driver's license or passport, that would help as well. It's pretty much the same. And I've also had the question asked, why do we use the fiction ID? And I've said it before, but I'm happy to repeat it. The fiction is actually very good at verifying who you are. It is pretty darn hard to fake your ID. Of course, we see in movies that they do it all the time, but it is very, very difficult. So that is just one way that we can validate who you are, because I'm making a live claim from a long distance away. I don't know you. I've never met you. So I need identification that has a picture. Oh, there's Russell. I see you. And your birth certificate. So anyway, yeah, we'll. I think we're ready. Are we ready with the chief?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
I will try and share his video.
Well, I don't know that you need any introduction, Russell, but we're really happy to have you here, and we're grateful for your time. We know that you are working very hard, and I, for one, am very, very grateful for the work that you've done over the years and what I've watched you do, and just the knowledge that you always stop and correct. You always step up to do what needs to be done when performance is called for, and I just so appreciate that. So, yeah, welcome, Russell.
I'm unmuting. Let's see here.
I
Unmute.
think you're still muted. Can I do it?
I'm trying to unmute him. Let's see here.
You'll need to unmute. There we go. I think we're good.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Fantastic.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you for the chance to speak on your show. I know you guys are busy teaching about syntax. Joey tonight kind of filled me in with some of the things that he's talked about with long dashes and some of the hieroglyphics and some of the places to look for communication skills.
Yeah.
There's many places to look. I spent many times in the old 1600s, 1700s, 1800s. Looking at the styles of communication and how it's been changed through the years. Some of the things that I've found were the prefixes and the suffixes of words and how they move you out of time and space. So I don't know where you want me to begin tonight. I'd like to do something a little different, Muriel. Something a little different. I know you have an audience. I don't know who's in the audience, but I would definitely love to open it up, off the cuff questions to see where the people are at.
Okay. Well, we can
and
have
not
the
really.
people,
Joey's kind of covered things.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
What we can do is maybe I'll ask just a couple of questions that I had written down that I get a lot of from people, and then if we've got time, we'll capture some of the questions from the chat, and maybe Joey, you can kind of keep track on that.
Oh, that's great.
Okay, great.
Yeah, I don't have my screen thing open, but I'm going to let you guys kind of feed me the questions. So thank you.
Okay, sure thing. So for the first question, with all these new mandates and protocols and guidelines that are coming from the fiction, is there any value in us doing the work of trying to vacate these things like we do when we capture usuries or when we see something wrong? Are we in the space of the duty of stop and correct?
My suggestion is that you contact, because of the martial law, Muriel, and the audience, you're in a conditioned state of martial-law. So trying to capture a position that doesn't have authorization, and what we're looking for is the militaries of the world to come forward, because once the militaries of the world come forward and say, hey, we're not going to come in and try to kill you or arrest you for not being vaccinated, nor for putting a mask on. At that point, it gives the people a chance of courage to make a choice, because people are afraid by their country's militaries. So in generalities, the people with claim to the life need to contact their country's military and have the country's military contact me to give them guidelines, because I've just published some documentation worldwide for a global valuation by the militaries to safeguard not the borders of our country, but the borders of all countries. Simultaneously giving directions that the fiction the fun camps that they've set up for putting people in and some of the things for vaccines are shut down to the people of the world. And the people of the world with claims to life can now come forward and give their quo warrantos or their claims or commands to their country's military through their post offices, of course, because the post office controls the military. And I'm the postmaster general of that because I've syntexed all of their global guidelines at the International Mail Manual and the Universal Postal Union. So for Muriel, to answer your question, they need to contact their country's militaries and have me be brought forward to their country's military to stop and correct this fraud that's being perpetrated upon the people on these masks and these vaccines. I hope that helps.
Yeah, that really does. So the best way to do that would be to put something in writing or just even to phone them.
Writing, phone them, follow them, tag them. As far as with all the platforms that are out there, with their social engineering. I'm not really. Don't know what that looks like because I'm not really crafty at that because I work for a living and I'm pretty busy, but other people do. And so, please.
Okay, so that would be worthwhile for people to get together in maybe their local area and sit down and strategize and maybe just set out to, they just start phoning people and sending emails and.
Yes, that's a great question. Do you have another question?
I do. So people have gotten their claim of the life. The timeline is run. They're working on getting their usuries captured. What's the best use of their time after that? Like, what is it that they can be doing from then on?
From then on, they should be putting their ship's papers together for their travel. Because as you know right now, Muriel, because of the vaccines and the bullshit, pardon my language, because of the crap that they're shoving upon us, the capacity for the travel is paramount. And so they would contact. Can you see me?
Can, yes. Yeah.
Okay, so they would contact their local transportation departments with their ship's papers, and at that point, give themselves the capacity to navigate through these difficult times, and of course, they're giving closure to the militaries simultaneously because the military controls that. As you know, in times of martial law, all civil authorities and civil governments are closed.
Right. And so, what does ship's papers look like?
Well, ship's papers would look like the claim of the life, as well as the command letter to the local transportation locations for shipping. And if you watch the documentary on War Castles and lastflagstanding.com, you can find out that most of the people have not been cognizant that they've been caught up in a shipping war. And so it's very sad to see people's lack of closure on how the shipping containment has been conveyed against them. So.
Okay. All right. Can you tell us about the War Powers Rights contract?
Yes, I can. So the War Powers-Rights contract was filed with NATO as well simultaneously with the U.S. military. And that was a contract that was a parallel to give a fairness during times of martial law. And the reason why I wrote that, Muriel, is because I watched the fake news on YouTube, and many of you can go to that, on CNN or some of the things in Pakistan. When Pakistan declared martial law, the first thing they did is the military came in and rounded up all the attorneys of the country, and everybody in the street beat the shit out of them. Right? They beat them up bad and threw them in concentration camps. Well, simultaneously, they followed up with people that they didn't like. So I wrote a construct that was positioned in place to give the people, because I've been through very difficult times, as you know, Muriel, and some of the hate that I've received by the judicial systems of the world, where I've been beat up and starved down. And so it's a condition of fairness so that you don't get beat up and have to go without the food and have to go without you don't have to get vaccinated while you're in custody and some of those scenarios. So it was a documentation. It was a contract when I was court-martialing George Walker Bush and Richard Bush Cheney and John Donald Rumsfeld and Peter Pace and Richard Myers. And I mean, the court-martialing goes on and 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 on. Easy guys. When I court-martialed all those easy guys, It was a position for the citizens to have a position where they would not get abused as they made their stand for who they are and the beliefs and the knowledge and the love of who they are in their life. So they allowed a position of manifestation where people could create their own reality or their own conditions based upon the thinking that they move themselves into. And so it was designed so that people wouldn't get hurt. And so that's why I built that construct.
Okay. So then when we're calling our military and our transportation department, we could call on that, the war-power rights-contract?
Yes, it's under corporation-case-number RR 385-460-312 US. And that was filed, worldwide at most of the military bases, but specifically U.S. SOCOM at MacDill Air Force Base.
Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Joey had brought it up, and I just had some questions on it. I knew that it was a very powerful document, so appreciate that.
Joey actually spent time, and he got to read all 9,000 paragraphs, and it was very in-depth and very detailed, and he can give testimonial that I was for the people, but the bad guys I even was for too, to a certain point, to when it's time to dole out the tough love. So anyway, next question, please.
Okay. Someone says, do we need a CPAS? And if so, how do we get one?
Well, okay. So there are great question. CPASs are definitely valuable during times of martial life and law. I have not opened up. I have a different style of CPAS now. There's a lot of people that are plagiarizing my technology and selling CPASs, and those CPASs are designed a little different. And some of the people that are building them and creating them now, because my autograph and thumbprint are not on it, they're just not going to work as you move into specific locations because they're engaged in usury of a system that they did not build. So there's a lot of plagiarism going on. But a CPAS is definitely a valuable tool. I typically charge, because of the knowledge and some of the technicalities that are there. And it's a dangerous document. So let me explain, Muriel, how this works. So a friend of mine in Utah got called to court, and he had a CPAS because of the martial law. Because the martial law, courts are closed. And so he went in and explained he had a CPAS to the judge and walked out of the courtroom. When he walked out of the courtroom, the sheriff's department, the Salt Lake County Sheriff's Department, tackled him, threw their knees in his back, grabbed his arms, jerked him around behind his arms, and started screaming at him, "You're going to go in and talk to the judge." He goes, "But I have a CPAS and it's martial-law." The sheriff's department took their arms off him, picked him off the ground, and goes, "Oh, you have the courage and you know." So it's a dangerous document if you don't know how to use it and you don't have the courage to stand your ground.
Yeah.
They let the man, his name was Alex, they let him go. And so, I don't like to give those, and I do probably need to start selling CPASs. And I've been so busy with the world economy that I've not really taken a lot of time like I should. And I do want to definitely let the people of the world know that I will definitely be posting CPASs on lastflagstanding.com. And I will automate that so that they can get those very shortly. But those are things that I will put together, and they're built a little bit different, but they are definitely a valuable tool. When you look up, it comes under what they call a CPAS, which is the same as what they call a C-brief. And it deals with nautical transportation during times of war. Okay. And so these are tools that are very valuable mine are called CPAS equals C-brief. Of course, everybody now that I've said that is going to copy that because everybody's going to steal from me. So I don't like to say a whole lot because everybody keeps on stealing, and I'm sorry that they're stealing. But anyway.
But again, it doesn't have your autograph and thumbprint on it, so it's void on its face.
That is correct. So are there any other questions?
Well, I just wanted to make a comment because you said the CPAS was a very powerful document, but it wouldn't have helped this person at all if they didn't have the courage to speak out.
Yeah, it takes a lot of courage, and it takes and the protocols that we'll file with CPASs on lastfighting.com .com. Once you get involved with that, it will give you a position to know where to file and why to file, and simultaneously it will put you kind of in a neutrality position during times of war. As you know, there's a lot of misnomers out here about what's going on, and the key is communication. Communication in a now-space scenario gives a position of closure, recovery, rule same and rule equal, as you know, Muriel, and it gives you a position of neutrality because of the global magnitude of what I've created on the Marshall-law, not only here, but in Thailand or Czechoslovakia or Russia. It is all the same criteria because those militaries in those countries, as well as everywhere else in the world, all fall under the guise of the postal union, which is what I control as the trust within the trust. So.
Okay. I had another question, and then really I'm pretty much out of questions. Are you helping people with court cases at this time?
I am not helping people with court cases at this time. As you know, courts are closed because of the Marshall-law. And so right now I'm focusing mainly on the constructs because all courts in the planet are closed. And what that means is you can go into your country's embassies and see the spires on top of the flag standards, which means they're at war with the people. So the ambassadors and the countries know this. Unfortunately, the people, they're tricking and duping the people. The Congresses and the legislatures from the prospective countries all know they're at war with the people, and it's unfair to the people because they're so duped by all the misleading. There's redemption and all this nonsense. You're going to check out of a fiction with a fiction, and you're an American national. You're going to go get a constitution without a flag. And it just is mindless nonsense that is happening out here, and unfortunately, people are. But I got some good news. Muriel, the good news is people are learning. They're learning about grammar. They're learning about correctness. They're learning that Mark-Krishan Christopher is a fraud, right? They're learning all the things that are just true, right? Muriel, when you first learned of Mark-Krishan Christopher, where was he sitting?
Behind me in the seminar that I sat at. He was a complete newbie.
Exactly. So does he know much?
Virtually nothing. He makes a good talk, but that's about it. He doesn't know anything.
Unfortunately, he's never been in a courtroom. He's never, I don't want to pick on the guy because he doesn't know anything. I don't want to be a jerk to people, but the people of the grammar world, truth wins. That's how it is. I'm not trying to be a jerk. And I've been here a long time you can look at my track record of who I am, what I've done to help the world. People can throw stones at me, but until they put solutions on the table, and you know what? I value everybody's solutions on the table. Where are the manifestors? Where are the people that are putting the solutions on the table to help our mankind with the correct communication, partition, syntax, grammar, coming to the constructs that have been built for the people's aid? I'm looking for them. I can't wait. You guys can't put it all on me because all of you are geniuses. You got the God man in you. Yeah. And so it's up to you guys to figure and find that within yourselves. And I'm waiting for that day because it's going to be complete harmony as we move forward.
Yeah. Well, and I took just one little course that I took was the permaculture design course. And it was just on how to set up your home space in a way that was working and sustainable to work with the way that nature works. And the person who was giving that lecture, he said, the solutions are already here. The people are, as you're saying, the geniuses have been at work on this for decades. Oh. We don't have to start from scratch. It's already waiting.
Yes, Muriel, blessings to you for that thinking, and blessings to your people with your questions. Yeah. I'm gonna just kind of close out right now, and
if you don't mind, can you answer one last question, please?
Okay, go.
I have a picture that I'm sharing with all of the community here. And the picture is, if you look on there, it shows that they have the flags hung vertically and they have gold fringe around them. What does this represent? Can you explain that to the people? This is inside of a courtroom in Texas.
Now I see I see the last flag standing header, Joey.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't see that, Joey. But from your closure of what that is, I don't see a flag, or I don't
There
see
it is.
anything.
There, okay.
Oh yeah. Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So what that means is flag is suspended. So when you hang a flag in that position, contract is suspended. So what's happening here is the judge is actually playing God in the courtroom because there are no rules, there are no procedures. He is the dictator within the admiralty jurisdiction of the venue of the flag, which is the neutral port of the court. So this is a position of dictatorship and a judge playing God. There are no rules in that courtroom.
Wow, thank you.
Thank you so much for
Russell.
pointing that out. I figured it would go along with what you're explaining. If people wanted to really check for themselves and cruise by the courthouse, not have an appointment to go there, but, stop in and peek in, they could look at these flags and see that and verify for themselves. Courts are closed.
Yeah.
And the flags show that very clearly. Thank you so much for answering that. Thank you, sir.
You bet.
Thank you.
So
it's been a pleasure, and thank you for your time.
Well, I'd like to close out with one last thought.
Yeah.
And that thought, Muriel, is that I'd like to have everybody go to lastflagstanding.com, and we've got a new thing coming out, a new campaign for the people, and that is to there's a list of people that we're wanting to tag to get me to have a conversation with them on their public radio shows. And those people are, if you can tag these guys, those people are Joe Rogan, Valentinement, and the official Hodge twins. And you can go to your platforms on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, or your emails, and you can tag those people and let them know that, hey, if you guys are influencers and wanting to give people the truth, the last-flag-standing and truth-wins of Russell-J. Gould and the directors-party-campaign is something that the world should look at as for communication. So if you can tag these guys and say, hey, why don't you guys do a public show with Russell-J. Gould, the Postmaster-General?
Thank you for that. Thank you for that.
You
Yeah.
bet.
Awesome. We'll share that.
Campaign.
We will do that. We'll do it as an email blast. Yeah.
Thank you very much, guys. Hey, you guys have a great evening. Thank you for your questions.
Thank you so much.
And blessings to all of you and your manifestations. May your blessings and your world be just wonderful, and learn how to communicate in the correct communication parts-syntax grammar. Thank you guys so much.
Right on. Thanks,
Thank
Russell.
you. Thank you.
Good night.
All right, everybody. The other thing is there was the question that you asked about what can we do right now after you're done with was the command letter that we issued that me and Muriel worked on that Chief agrees with, and basically that
they even mentioned it tonight.
Media command letter is still valid. People, all you got to do is print that out, autograph it, and mail it to those locations. That is probably the best way, because we've already done the work for you. We're already got the verbiage down, the words, the message, the communication, communicating with our governments, the bases, and mail this stuff out to all these key personnel, to each one of the bases that we have listed in there, to the Department of Defense, to the FCC.
Yeah,
and
start
mail this
there.
out there and let them know. Yes.
Start with the ones that we mentioned on the website, and then you could send it to your transportation department, your local, like for the most part, the starting point is the states, because that's where Russell has done the bulk of his work. Start there. Send those things to there. Then you send copies of what you've sent to your local people, wherever it is that you are, Australia, Germany, France, wherever you happen to be. It's our work. This is the work that we can do. Right.
We gave you the picture of the flags. If you want to go by there and check it out yourself, just to verify that the flags are in the correct position, you can go look that up in Army Regulation 84-2 10 to get further details on flag etiquette. Okay.
Right.
You can even Google it, flag etiquette. Look it up. That's why the name of the movie is Last Flag Standing.
And share
Because
that as
he is
well.
literally the last flag standing on planet Earth that's authorized in the now space for correct communications in the quantum grammar. So
Okay.
that's what he has done, and that is what he is pointing out. And it's very obvious when you go in the court and you look up there on the wall and you see the flag, suspended, and
That
it's
is-
got gold fringe all over it, which
That is so
makes the flag
telling.
null and void.
Yep.
It's
Yeah.
clear as day,
If you don't have anything more, Joey, then I feel we've pretty much had the best meeting
Yes.
that we
Wrap
could have
this
for
up,
tonight. And thank you, everybody. We're so grateful that you were able to join. And I hope you all just have a
Thank
great
you,
night.
Muriel. It's a pleasure.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.